Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm John Carlin.
And I'm Rachel Lucas. Tonight, our 10 News exclusive continues with a local case turned national headline, now being featured in Rolling Stone magazine.
It's the story of Michael Brown, an AWOL Marine who went on the run for weeks after killing his stepfather in 2019. And tonight, he answers my question about whether he really was armed and dangerous. On November 14, 2019, the police dragnet closed in on Michael Brown, who had deserted the Marines and was a suspect in the killing of his stepfather, Rodney Brown, in Franklin County. Michael eluded law enforcement, even as they had him seemingly in their grasp, by hiding out in the cabinet of his dismantled RV. Police had rammed the side of the RV and began removing its contents, while Michael hid undetected in that cabinet near the ceiling in the back.
But on my way to that cabinet was the first strike of the RV, and I had no idea. I thought they were shooting at me. So I was panicked. I was able to get into the cabinet as they were ramming it the second time.
He even overheard law enforcement's conversations throughout the day.
One of them mentioned, "I hope this really is his RV. I hope we didn't just destroy somebody else's RV."
I shot this video on my phone during a live broadcast from the scene, not knowing Michael was still inside. At the impound lot at Fat Boys Towing, he waited for dark.
I waited for it to get dark enough that nobody would be able to see me. I exited the cabinet, grabbed as many things as I could from the RV itself. I grabbed toilet paper.
Michael wanted to go back to his childhood home and hide out, so he set off on foot.
I don't know exactly what route I took. I just know that I went from mountaintop to mountaintop or hilltop to hilltop, climbed any trees that I could find to get oriented.
After days of travel, he hid out in the attic of the house. At one point, his mother and grandmother were there, not knowing he was hiding just above them.
I heard them from the attic crawl spaces, which is where I was at, in the house discussing that my mother was being told, or my mother was afraid that she was going to be charged with lying to federal investigators.
Their conversation changed his mindset.
I thought to myself, well, I really don't want anybody else to go to jail for something I did, especially not my mom. So I decided at that point that at some point soon I was going to have to turn myself in.
Police described him as an expert marksman who was willing to kill. Were you armed and dangerous?
Certainly armed, definitely not dangerous. I was armed solely for the idea that because in my mind, before I decided to turn myself in, I had decided that I would rather commit suicide than to turn myself in. And because I figured what was going to happen to me was I was going to have to spend life in prison. And I just couldn't fathom the idea of doing that.
When police checked the home again the day before Thanksgiving, Michael thought it was time to give up. He claims police were leaving without finding him, so he crawled down from the attic.
So I lowered myself down, and when I did, one of the officers walked back into the room, and I was like, "Hello," and he saw me and drew his weapon on me, and I put my hands up and surrendered at that point.
The court found him not guilty by reason of insanity. Now Michael's in recovery for dissociative amnesia at a mental hospital in Danville. He has hopes of starting a sailing academy and helping other people with mental illness.
There's two real big messages that I've been trying to get out to people, and that is, one, if you need help, ask for it. That was the biggest mistake I made. The biggest mistake I made is I did not ask for help when I needed it.
So my interview with Michael Brown, there's no word on when Michael will be released from the facility in Danville. We're told it depends upon his progress. For more on this case and to watch our past two stories, head to WSLS.com.